true that Eddie Graham would fly his plane drunk from time to time?
Yeah, yeah. Eddie was at one time, and then Eddie was sober for 13 years. But I mean, the Funks told the story about when he flew underneath the Skyway Bridge, and he was drunk. So, I mean, Eddie was daredevil. Eddie only went to like the 5th grade, but he was a pilot. He was a captain of a boat, and he was a brilliant man in the wrestling industry. But like the rest of us, he had some demons. And he got cured of the demons, or stopped anyway, for 13 years. And me, Kern, and Mike were on a boat one day with Eddie, and we were fishing, and we were shotgunning beers, the 3 of us, and he said, "Let me try one." And he shotgunned the beer. Now, I don't know if he had been drinking before that, but that was the first time I ever saw him take a drink. And then, you know, progressively, it kind of took back over on him.
And why did he die, do you think? What was there's so many stories that circulate.
So many stories, and I think there's a little bit of truth to all of them. He got caught up with the wrong people. Sometimes smart people can think they're the smartest and no one can con them. Well, he got caught up with a con guy that got into the political scene, that had somebody in the planning department that told him, buy this property because I-4 is going to be extended. It wasn't I-4, it was 495, can't remember. And when that happened, Eddie had dumped a lot of money into it. And then all of a sudden, there was rumors that the guy that gave him the information got thrown out of his job because he was giving inside information. And Eddie thought he might be going to jail. And, you know, Eddie was thought of in the state of Florida as, you know, Mr. Florida. And the other thing was financial problems, women problems, and
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and he might have had health issues because Eddie's physique changed now. It could have been from the drinking, but it's a sad thing. It ran in the family. A lot of people don't know this. Eddie's father committed suicide. Eddie committed suicide. Mike's son committed suicide. I just found out Eddie's brother committed suicide, but he had terminal cancer. And then Mike, so, you know, there may be a suicidal gene or depression. They found out there's a depression gene, so.
It didn't get a huge amount of mainstream publicity when Mike killed himself.
Right.
Did you have any insight into what was going on with Mike since you were close with him?
It was a funny thing that happened. Mike and I had been very close at times. When I was tag team with Mike and we had to lose, I would be the one that took the fall. And Mike didn't like that all the time, but he was going to be there. It was going to be his company someday. So when I left Florida and went to different territories, like Atlanta and Knoxville and San Francisco, Mike would come out and do jobs for me. So we were close, and we rode together, partied together, we fished together, dove together, and he had a radio show, and I was his last guest. And after the show, we hung up. Mike was not an outgoing guy with his affection. And after that radio show, he called me up and said, you know, I love you. And I said, what? He said, you know, I love you. He said, and I said, you know, I love you too, Mike. He said, no, I love you. And he hung up. And I'm going to say it was like 6 days later, he committed suicide. And it shocked me. And I should have not been shocked, because he said something that, and General Briscoe and I were talking today at the Fan Fest. After Mike's son died, he said to Briscoe and me and his friends, I must have been a horrible son and a horrible father. And Mike went downhill after the son died. I mean, he wasted away to nothing. At one time, Mike had the longest powerlifting record in the state of Florida, 195 pounds. And I know for a fact Mike was clean back then. I mean, no steroids. And he bench pressed 440, which was unheard of for a 195 pounder for a state champion. And that lasted about 18 years. But when I saw him the last time, he was probably maybe 160 pounds, maybe.